Hey, welcome back. We're gonna have a baby soon. Let's talk about it.
So how do you feel knowing that in a week from now, you'll be officially a mom and we'll be both parents?
Oh yeah, that's a good way. That's really good. I came in here all blank, like, how do I feel? I feel very excited. I feel like we've just been like waiting. Like the moment we decided we were ready, I kind of almost felt like, let's do it right now. Like if you put the baby, like you mail it to me, like let's do it right now. Like 9 months ago, like that's how ready I was. And then you go through your little cycle, right? You go through the trimesters. So now that we're in our last trimester, and I'm like 39 weeks.
In our last week,
Our last week, it's supposed to be due like he's supposed to be due like in a week, right? From today.
it came by really fast.
Yeah.
I felt it was fast and you felt it was slower. Is that what?
I'm so like, I always ask myself that like every day, and I'm like, it feels slow because sometimes when I do ask myself that, I'm like bored because I'm like waiting to like, I can't wait to like change his diaper or just do mom stuff. At the same time, I'm like, this is good because I get to relax.
Yeah.
So I'll feel like it's fast and slow at the same time.
And moments before, we'll recap. So, moments before deciding on having a kid, we were
Not gonna have kids.
not going to have kids actually. And
Chinese.
that decision was there for a long time since we were both in college at a time.
Why was that for you though?
Well, mine was my decision of not having a kid just yet, but I was always open. I was never closed off to it.
I was more
But
close
you
than
were
you.
were
Yeah.
definitely more close to having kids.
I think because I'm the one that had to like carry it.
Yeah. But even even your parents thought having a
was a
kid
no.
was a no in your decision.
Yeah.
And everyone was okay with that.
Yeah.
And a lot of our friends a lot of my friends kept on hounding me. Like, why are you having kids? You guys would be like amazing parents.
I heard that a lot. Yeah.
And we definitely heard that phrase a lot. And it was just a point in time that we were so busy, I felt. And there were so many challenges that we faced in operating a photography business. It's a very competitive industry. Now that technology has caught up, there's definitely so many resources out there that anyone can do almost any profession nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we felt our time was very valuable, and we felt if we raised a kid while we're still figuring our life out in our 20s, it wouldn't be fair to raise a kid during that time.
Yeah. I think you definitely had more like logistical, rational way of looking at it. Like that's so rational to look at it that way. But my reason, I think, now that I have time to reflect on it, because I was so punishing when I changed my mind to myself, because it was all emotional, it was all fear based. Because like the moment you go sex ed, they're like, don't have a baby. I just remember that like so hardcore, and it was a scary thing to have a baby. And motherhood in my youth, when I was growing up in my education, it was not promoted. It was like a very scary, don't ever do this, like choose work, choose feminism, choose like, I don't know, it was just not promoted. And definitely when I got to college, I got deathly afraid watching all these like documentaries scaring the crap out of you. Being a mom and going to hospital and having a baby in the U.S. and all this stuff, a lot of fear mongering. And then I think like after my accident when I fell, and then like a lot of things came into focus and what I really wanted to do, that's when my mind started to change at that time.
And what made that change?
Because I
I
figured,
mean, yeah, how did that accident impact to that decision?
because when you almost die, I think, it wasn't that serious, but like that's how I felt. It felt that way. It was like, oh, I almost died. So I have a second chance to really pursue what I want and be very truthful with myself. And when you can't move, this was really powerful for me. It's like you have nothing but your mind. Thankfully, I had my mind, and I knew I was going to get better. But for the months that I couldn't move and distract myself with work or distract myself with video games, whatever, I started to really just ask myself what I wanted from my life. And I was already in my, over my 30s. And then they're always telling you that as a woman, like, oh, after 35, like, you better start making some decisions. And then because we have the convenient distraction of work, and it's so easy for us to choose work. It's not like we don't like work, we love our work. So it's easy to do that. And even though we would tell ourselves, like, let's have a conversation about kids every year, to be honest with ourselves, it was like, you want it? Nah. Okay. That was the conversation.
I felt the conversation wasn't very in depth.
It wasn't
true. We didn't give it a lot of thought, really, and we just kind of pushed it off and
I had a lot of fear.
Procrastinated.
Yeah.
And then what I realized, if I look back on it, that the more you push off the idea of wanting kids or not wanting kids, then that fear does kick in, and it really takes over your decision in if you're going to move forward with it or not. And that's what I felt, that this is it. I mean, this is our life, and we're just not going to have kids.
Yeah. And that felt sad to be like, I remember when I finally was like 3 years later, when I was like, I was pretty much, healed from my back and everything. And now I could really like pursue things that I wanted. And we were going ham with all of our hobbies and stuff like that. And I was like, cool, that's fun and everything. And there became a moment where I got really afraid. I was like, oh crap, I think I do want kids. And I think finally I have the courage to like tell you, because I didn't want to tell you, because I was like, oh, what right do I have to change my mind all of a sudden? And I'm like 38 years old, 37 years old. And then I felt so like punishing and unforgiving and fearful and really, really scared. But then I was like, if I don't say it now, then when?
Yeah. I mean, I could relate to that as well, because there was a certain point in my 30s or early 30s, prior to COVID, like probably 2 years prior to COVID, where our business was doing well. We had a routine of things. We had a routine of running an efficient business, and we were successful, and we're still successful in our business, and that's all we knew.
Right.
And we start to ask ourselves, other than surviving in California, being able to do what you love, right? Other than fulfilling those dreams that were once dreams and now is reality.
What else?
What else is there to life? Do you want to share it? And we did share it with each other, this life that we built. Now we want to. Now you start to think, what is it all for, other than
Legacy,
this? Once you completed everything.
Right.
And our accountant from the very get-go, it didn't hit me in what she planned for our business from the very start, but she's like, let's start with S Corp immediately.
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to Mary from Exact Tax. But she's like, you're going to want to pass this business down. And I this was like your first year in business. I'm not even thinking about passing it down just yet.
Surviving and are we going to make it?
You're just thinking about that. And then now you reach to that point, and she's absolutely right. You do want to pass the business down, and
just life too, like all the lessons that we learn, being a team and in our marriage. We're like 10 years into our marriage. It was like, wow, we have a lot to share, I think.
And there's 10 years does in somewhat fly by very quickly, and there's some aspects to it that is very slow, and you do many things, and life does change very drastically in 10 years.
He's kicking a lot right now. He's like, oh yeah. Oh, and another thing too is like, you're like, what else? Who's it for? What is all this for? The legacy. It was like, I was telling you, I was like, yo, I think I know what our life is like. I can predict what it'll be if we don't have kids. And we'll just travel, or we'll pay off our mortgage, and we won't have all these like financial responsibilities, and we'll just like do that. But I feel like we've done that.
Then yeah, you
And I
will
was like
feel
bored.
yeah, you'll definitely feel bored.
And I
That's
was
why
like,
you have so many hobbies.
I
I
have
had
so
so
many
many
hobbies,
hobbies.
yeah.
We started to do everything.
Start doing everything we want to turn into a business, and it's the same cyclical routine. And I was like, that's cool, and I feel like we've fulfilled that. Like, that's what we like to do. We have a passion for entrepreneurship and business and starting things. We're quick starts. And then I was like, yeah, but how many times can you do that? What we don't know is like a kid. Well, that's
Yeah,
what we don't know. We
that's
don't
what
know
we
what a
don't know.
family is. We don't know all of that stuff. But doesn't that sound exciting now? And like, I feel like because of all the trials and tribulations and the success and the failures that we went through, is like, oh, I think we'll be okay. Like, I really felt finally comfortable with the idea of being a mother, punishing that I waited so long, and then I got over it. And then now I'm like, oh, dude, I'm ready. Like, give him to me.
Yeah, I feel like we're ready.
Yeah.
Like we're risk takers by heart, and we always manage to solve difficult problems together.
Yeah.
I feel having a kid, which I mean, he's coming out next week.
That's crazy.
That we're just going to face it, and no
Yeah.
other parent, like I said, is ever prepared enough. And you
Prepared
just
enough, yeah.
you just need to go through the motions with it, just like how we went through the motions of starting a business. And when you're so in love with what you're doing, and it's unconditional love
You just do
for
it.
your own kid, you're going to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to do all that stuff. Like, I know it's gonna be hard. Like, I'm not trying to come into this video and being like, oh, we freaking got it. Like, we're gonna be freaking masters or
No.
whatever. But at the same time, just like that feeling of like, cause you hear that, when are you ready to have kids and stuff like that? I'm just really glad like you really led the way on like securing, like our financial path, and making sure like all of the basic necessities of feeling ready, versus like not doing that, versus like 10 years ago if we had a kid, yeah, oh, you have time, that's great, but maybe we would have been struggling more. Maybe I didn't get to pursue all the things I wanted to do. Same with you. So I really feel fortunate that we did wait, and that's what our path was, and I got to like pursue all these fun little things. Versus like, say a mom who becomes a mom early, and that's great because you have all the time with the kid and you're young with the kid, but maybe they didn't get to start their own business.
It's definitely case by case, and
Yeah.
everyone's life is built differently.
So I'm glad what we did.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
this is definitely our lifestyle, and if I would say, yeah, it wasn't about this entire journey for us. What we learned was timing is not an issue in pregnancy.
Yeah.
I feel the whole society putting a time limit that you have to try have kids before 35 is just too much pressure.
It was a lot of pressure, yeah.
And
Even though you
there's
say it's not.
and as we learned that there's people having kids more and more after the age 35,
It really is case by case in health.
and it is it's always I mean, yeah, from what we learned, it's about your health.
Your health, your personal health. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. And we plan on still growing our family if it, God willing, it all works out. But I handled this pregnancy like, it was super chill, honestly. I had like 2 little hiccups. And I was like, okay, that's good. Like, I feel like the trajectory for still growing our family is possible, because I know in the beginning it was like, yo, let's just get one. And like, I know I'm old. And that's the fear, again, talking.
Yeah.
And I think it's a better message to be like, well, if that's something that you really want, do everything that you can on your end. So health-wise and all that stuff. Mental health, too. That's a big one. And then the rest you can let God or the universe take control. But
Yeah.
at least you did your part, right? And you could like
Definitely
not worry.
do what you love, and never resent anything in your life was what
The resentment is
Yeah, the resentment is strong. So I always,
can be killer.
yeah, I always felt with us is that I wanted not to utilize my college degree, you know, and I wanted to go the business route.
Right.
And I always felt
Me too.
there was something more fulfilling in owning your own business and doing what you love versus there's nothing wrong of working for someone else, but it wasn't fitting with my lifestyle because I was raised by parents that own their own business, and I was so used to that lifestyle, and I like to continue that lifestyle. And then you just hopped on board.
And I was like, what is this?
But if I, were to work for someone else, I think that would be a biggest resentment in my life.
Yeah.
And say if I had a kid within this process, and if the kid, I mean, we'll just have to figure it out if it did happen during that time, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So, but I just feel that, meeting your own goals, like really thinking about your goals and accomplishing those goals, really help before deciding on having a kid.
Yeah, I think it was really
I
good
feel
for
that it's
us.
healthy.
Yeah. We were really, really like, okay, there's nothing else that we can possibly do. Like, I walked away from coffee so easily because I was so ready to like be a mom and stuff. Or like any other thing, and it really just helped focus me on what I really want from my life. And I'm like, oh, I just want to be like my mom. After all that, like, but yeah, cool. Wow, Bubba.
Yeah. Well, he's coming out.
Congrats.
Congrats to us, and
Let's see. The next video will be, okay, we're 3 months in.
yeah.
Whatever it'll be there. I wonder how our perspective will change.
Thanks for watching, and we look forward to sharing our 3-month experience once our baby's out.
3 months? Really? Okay.